welcome to the Can We Talk Relationship podcast. I am your host, Goddess Grace Grant. We have Miguel Sierra, Sharell Monea, Julian, and Tobari, aka Coach T, as our guest host today. And we have the lovely Miss Kay Jones, owner of SheOrgasms and I Am She, with us today to discuss a topic that we are all very, very familiar with, and that is building intimacy. Intimacy is very, very important for a lot of us, if not all of us. And a lot of people tend to have trouble when it comes to building a thriving sex life with their partner or partners. So we're going to actually talk about that this evening. You guys ready to get started?
Absolutely.
Sure. Awesome. Awesome. Kay, my dear, you have, I don't even want to tell the audience what you do. I want you to tell it because you tell it so well. Now, I've tried your product myself, and without TMI, right, it's amazing, right? I don't know what you put in that, what type of juju you put in it, but it's
What product is that? I want to know. What product is that?
We're about to say it. SheOrgasms Herbal Sexual Supplements that can also be used as a daily supplement. And that, what is that? That honey rum tincture is bomb as well. So tell us a little bit about what you do.
Okay, so SheOrgasms started, it was going to be this supplement that helps women have exciting sexual experiences. I didn't realize how many women weren't having pleasurable, orgasmic, juicy sessions. And so I wanted to create a product that would help them get to that point quickly. So then that kind of transformed into more products that help a woman be comfortable in her sexuality, be confident, and really be satisfied. So now it's turning more into a full brand. I mean, we're a whole brand out here of women who are sexually confident, they're sexually satisfied, they're having these orgasmic releases that's making them peaceful and, you know, full of bliss. So I'm starting to get more into being a face in front of everything because I've kind of been hiding in the background. So now I'm trying to get all women mentally in a place where they can reach those places of orgasm that are transcendent.
Beautiful.
So, yeah.
Beautiful. I just got to say, Mr. Mig Nice up there, we were supposed to have some music playing.
It's playing, but I don't want to drown y'all out.
Oh, no, you wasn't going to drown us out. Don't worry. As long as the volume is right.
Y'all tell me, like, I don't know. I can hear y'all nice, but you know what I'm saying?
That's a good volume.
Yeah.
Right there, y'all good?
So, okay, awesome. Kay, how important is self-pleasure on the journey of great sex with your partner? I'm just going to hop right into it.
So I think self-pleasure is more important before you get into a partnership. It's you learning yourself, it's you spending time with yourself, it's you loving on yourself, getting connected, you know, getting grounded in your sexuality, and just, you know, it's so important. It's concerning and sad to me when I hear a woman isn't doing it because, you know, I don't feel she can reach a level of pleasure that is deserving without playing with herself and figuring out what feels good and what doesn't.
Right. So because if you don't know yourself, I mean, how can you expect your partner to know, you know, what brings you pleasure?
Exactly. So then once you get into a partnership, you go through a stage of learning one another through all type of cues. I mean, verbal cues, auditory cues, verbal, whatever cues you have to give in order to get the pleasure that you desire. And then you guys can then go from there. You guys can play together, you guys can play separate, you guys can, but when you get to a connected place with your partner, you won't want to self-pleasure.
Absolutely, absolutely. And so I have a question for the guys, actually, because this question is always asked to the women when it comes to masturbation, self-pleasure, things of that nature. Now, obviously, we know guys jack off and things of that nature, but do you ever make it a sacred moment for yourself? Do you set the mood? Do you find what things? I know you guys are probably getting shy on me, but I really want to know. Mig was like, nah. But no, seriously, in all seriousness, do you experiment on your own, find what, works for you, what you like? Do you create that sacred space for yourself as well? Y'all better not go silent on me.
Not particularly. Hello, everybody. I'm Tobari Coach T, and I appreciate it. No, not really. That's not something I've ever really considered. So it's just dope to even just consider it. But no, for the most part, no, I've never done that. How about you guys?
I have.
Trying not to answer.
I mean, like, I don't set the lights and the music or nothing like that. Like, it's not a whole atmosphere, but I am intentional about just, figuring out what I like, and going from there.
Mm-hmm. So that actually does help you. Well, I know Coach T said he doesn't particularly, but Jay, you and Miguel, so does that actually help when you are with a woman? Like, does it actually help with your own sexual self-discovery?
I'll be honest and explain that for myself, when it comes to like masturbation, for example, it is spiritual, like, you know what I'm saying? So for me, spirituality, I apply that shit to everything I do. At least I try to, you know what I'm saying? You like my microphone? There, I wanted to plug it in, but I couldn't find, I don't have a free plug. Anyways, but I do find that anything sexual, it is like a spiritual act. Like, it's an exchange of energy, right? Mm-hmm. And even within yourself. Yeah. So I do try my best to, I'll take that back. I don't even try, but it's like a thing for me to be very much intentional about being in that moment and appreciating that moment. I also feel like masturbation is one of those things that definitely leads to a better relationship with your partner, sexual relationship with your partner. But also, it's like a journey of its own. And when it comes to self-discovery, you know what I'm saying? Like what you like, what gets you there, what doesn't get you there. And it's on Facebook, so my mom's watching this. But yo, semen retention, you know what I mean? I practice a lot of that shit. Mm-hmm. And it's so many kind of like things that you can do from it. Like so much you can gain from it on a spiritual level, you know what I mean? Now, with that being said, there are times where masturbation is nothing more than a fucking sleep aid. It happens, you know what I mean? Like nothing more than some stress relieving type shit, or I need to go to sleep and I can't, and watching The Wire for the 8th time ain't doing it. So let me go search Tiana Trump, and then I'm going to bed type shit. You know, it happens. I'm honest with this shit.
Yeah. Hi, Mom. Just to add to what Meg was saying, I think also it's very dope when you can have a good understanding of like what part of your fantasies like turn you on the most. So like mentally, you can also explore and discover a lot about yourself. Like, oh, like why was I so aroused during this part of my fantasy? You know what I mean? And you can communicate that with your partner as well.
Absolutely, absolutely. So I have another question for the group. Have you ever struggled with maintaining or building a pleasurable sex life within your relationships? If so, how do those frustrations seep into your everyday life with your partner?
Well, no, I can jump in if I can. So just a little bit of background on me. I married my high school sweetheart So we've been together almost 20 years, married 11.
Beautiful.
And I know we had some hard times in there when it comes to intimacy on the whole, not just sex and the sex life, but intimacy on the whole. Because after you've been together for so long, it just kind of is what it is. And you have to make sure you break out of any kind of routine and spice it up. And part of the reason for my last answer for the question before was because I'm kind of right now, I'm in this space where we're really enjoying each other, like on a whole different level. And so I just kind of put that energy there because I'm in a good place to be able to put it there. But thinking back to when we weren't in such a good place, I know it affects me like on a deep level. Like, for example, like right now in my recording studio, right? And it's one of the places that I just find like a unique sense of homeostasis for myself. But previously to moving to the house that we're in now, I had to go about 6 months without it. And the story is hilarious because by the end of the
6 months without what?
Without my recording studio. Without my studio.
Oh, they meant sex.
Oh, no, bro.
That's not even a long time.
No, yeah, it is. I'm not sure what you're talking about. But
I've gone 7 years without sex before.
Oh, okay.
Good for you.
It was when I first started my journey.
Is it good? Yeah,
and no masturbation either. Nothing sexual.
7 fucking years.
7 years.
Hey, yo, I'm sorry, Tobari. I didn't mean to cut you off, but we gotta go to.
Hey, go for it.
Let's go to Kay on location, right? Let's go to Grace on location right now. Grace, can you tell us about the 7-year drought? What the fuck?
Yeah, I stopped cold turkey. Actually, I had just become a devout Christian. So I was starting my spiritual journey. And even though I don't identify as a Christian anymore.
Your religious journey.
Yeah, I was exactly. Well, no. I say spiritual journey because my religious journey actually was the start of my spiritual journey because I was so open-minded that I was trying so many different paths. Devout Christianity just kind of started me on that path. But even in that sense, when you think about God and everything sacred, you know, that it was very much spiritual because it connected me to my intuitive self. You know what I mean? So no, that absolutely happened. I stopped out because I was a very fast teenager. I was 18 when I stopped everything cold turkey in devotion. And the first time I moved to Atlanta was when I started dating again. And, you know, I started wanting to find myself sexually. I was like 25 years old, and here we are now. That's actually when I started my tantric journey, but we'll get into more of that later. I'm sorry, Coach T. You can continue.
No, it's all good. It's all good. I appreciate your perspective on that. So yeah, right before moving to this house we're in, I had to go about 6 months without my recording studio, and my wife was like, "Bro, the first thing we're going to do is establish your studio because you are weird when you don't have your Zen space. That's just what it is." So I had to give it to her. I was like, yeah, that's probably true. So that's kind of how I am right now in my marriage. It's a very unique place because we haven't been here very long, but we're having a lot of fun. And it took us a while to get here, but once we got here, it's like A1. So yeah.
Nice. Now, do you guys have fun in your studio, or is it for work only?
No, there's no such thing for work. My studio's in my home, and my home is my castle. So
dope.
Don't sit on the couch.
Hey, Jay, we're never doing the podcast at this nigga's house. All right, that's not.
I'm just saying, it's probably not a good idea.
And if we do, we're bringing Lysol wipes, and that's not.
Wow.
I'm pretty sure I sat on a few kids.
Oh.
Hey, what's that T? Hit him with the Kanye. He might have.
It might have went down.
It's natural though. It's natural. Everyone does it, you know.
You know how many couches we sat on? You know how many couches we sat on that have been infested by pleasure that we don't think about?
Infested? You mean blessed with?
Fuck that, because that ain't my blessing. That's somebody else's blessing.
It's the energy and the intent and the sacred energy.
Nah, it's called fucking nut. Dried up nut.
Hey.
Ass juice. Oh, we can't say it on Facebook. I'm sorry, moms. Hey, mom. I ain't say ass juice.
I'm pretty sure moms knows exactly how you are. No need.
I get it from her. I get it from her.
Oh, see, the OG.
The whole family's fucked up. But we love each other. Not like that, but we love each other.
You said not like that. Okay, well, has anybody else want to answer that question as far as us struggling to maintain intimacy within your relationships?
Well,
oh, sorry. Go ahead, Kay.
I was thinking to myself just how I've gotten to a place where I can humbly say, I haven't had that problem.
I believe you.
However, but I think I am now analyzing why I have been blessed with that. I have a partner also who has been bred to make sure that I'm satisfied. You know what I mean? Like, it's just his natural desire. And with me being such a hungry person and an explosive, you know, I had to meet a match. And I lived my life so lovingly, you know, and so just like able to try this, do that, go here, go that, without any doubt, without being afraid of any outcomes, you know, just flowing with life. And I think that, like, I've been blessed with a man who knows how to completely deliver, and he's going to do what he has to do to make sure that I am. He's going to take his herbs. He's going to eat better. He's going to make sure he's drinking his water. He's going to be active. He's going to, you know, research a little bit. He's going to do that. So just in that aspect, I don't see myself ever having that problem, because even when things do change, you know, where like maybe I'm feeling a not so much in the mood to do so much, and he's now just a hungry hippo, and you know, I'm just like, oh, slow down. But I think he'll be able to adjust because he's mentally at a place where he knows how to adapt to the environment.
Nice. Now, would that adaptation happen organically, or do you feel like you would, and we're speaking hypothetically here, of course, do you think you would have to have that type of conversation with him as far as communicating, you know, whatever it is you need to communicate if something changes between you two sexually?
You know, I think it depends on where you're at within your connection with your partner. And if you guys have reached a place where you just know. Yeah. You know, where things just go unsaid because you can read each other and hear each other subconsciously. You know what I mean? So when you get to that point, then there's no need for it. But I think it's very important to do it if you have not gotten to that point, so that you can work on getting there.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Sharell, were you going to say something?
Yes, ma'am. I'm kind of with Kay on that. Like, if I sit down and think about my past, and I got a later start than a lot of people. I was almost done with college my first time. And I've never had that problem, like the lack of intimacy and sensuality within our sex life with any of my partners. Like, I think the worst part was probably one of my first partners, and he masturbated multiple times a day. And so if we did connect and have coitus, he would hunt me to death.
Oops, sorry.
Damn, Kay. Damn, Kay, you didn't have to come on my girl like that. Hold on, Kay.
That's the way she threw it out there. He would hunt me to death. Just like, whoa.
We love
real southern visual.
Space, okay.
But it got to the point where I was like, he thought it was like a badge of honor to be like, oh yeah, we went 5 hours. And I'm still pretty young, but I was like, look. Because at some point, it's just
fucking bunny.
Yeah, it felt like it was more compulsory than actual, I'm sitting here making love or whatever. It was just, I just gotta hump something until I nut. But if he's masturbating 6-7 times a day, I'm laying there for hours like, dude, please hurry up. I'm ready to go.
Wow. Did you ever communicate that with him?
Yes, we had a talk, and I was like, okay, here's the deal. Because we were actually long distance. I was like, do whatever you gotta do. But a week before I come see you, stop.
Mm.
And he did that.
Oh,
and it got so much better.
Wow.
Better or messier? That shit.
You said better or messier or quicker?
Both.
All the above.
All of the above. Ouch. Wow. Well, I want to ask you guys as well, assuming that you have been in the same position, how do you communicate your sexual dissatisfaction to your partners? And how do you even approach that conversation from the men's perspective?
That's usually a difficult conversation, mostly because in our society, sex, intimacy, and those things of a more intimate nature aren't discussed as freely. I mean, nowadays, yes, but even then, it's more sensationalized a lot of the time than anything. It's not a mature conversation. It's who can get the gag reel pause, or who can get the, who can say the thing that makes everybody go, ooh. But when you're having a real conversation about it, feelings are involved, especially when you're talking about a partner you love or care about. So what we've done is we've had to practice radical honesty everywhere, so that when we are talking about our intimacy, we can also practice that without fear of judgment or reprisal, if that makes sense. So we're able to say, hey, this is 1, 2, 3, not it. However, that is fantastic. Can we try that again? And that doesn't have to mean, dude, you suck, or shorty, for real. It doesn't have to mean that. And because we practice that type of honesty with each other, with everything, we can recognize it wherever we are. Yeah. So we can have a conversation in the car or have a conversation butt naked in the bed in the same fashion. And I feel like that's a really good way of making that communication work overall. So.
I like that you mentioned that you can have that honest conversation in and out of the bedroom, because it really does start outside of the bedroom. If you don't have good communication in your daily practical lives, there's no way you can have that, in the bedroom. So it's really just an extension of that. But exactly. I will say, one thing that I personally like to do is I like to bring the lessons into sex. I like, when it comes to role playing, for example, the teacher-student role play. I like doing that where one person, and this comes from my tantric background, but I like
college student, right?
Anyway, I'm ignoring you. Adults only, okay? But no, in all seriousness, having that teacher-student role play where it's like, okay, you're guiding someone how to please you, but you're doing it in a playful manner. You know what I mean? It's very exhilarating, very playful, very, very fun, but you're really teaching them how to touch you, how to not touch you, and you even get to scold them if they're not doing it right. So it's a whole entire game. Like, that's one of the most effective things that I've tried in the past before. So yeah, that brings me to my next question. So what are your tips and your advice to build intimacy and pleasure for struggling partners? This question is for everyone.
For struggling partners?
You said what? Struggling partners, struggling with intimacy. What are your tips on building a thriving sex life and building intimacy? Because they go hand in hand, of course.
It's a loaded question, yo.
You can go first.
Go ahead, Kay.
Okay. So when I think about intimacy, I think about the ability to love so deeply that you are love, right? So you're just existing with someone, sharing your love together because you're joyful with or without them. But with them, things are just explosive. And the only way to get there is to individually get back to who you are. And that is really like working on yourself, going through that dark closet of fears and annoyances and all the grudges you're holding and all the things, and analyze them in a way where you can then grow from them and evolve. So choosing a different choice. So when you're back in that same situation again, being big enough and adult enough to choose a more loving choice, you know, they say, would you rather be right or would you rather be happy? And being right is always taking the path of ego, but being happy is always taking the path of love. So if you do that with everything and you continue to work on yourself so that you can remove every toxic trait from yourself, then your ability to love your partner is going to be so, so pure, where there's nothing other than being intimate with them, because you can just be laughing or even having a disagreement and it still be so intimate and beautiful.
Wow. Yes, absolutely. I 1000% agree with that. And you brought up a good point that I want to bring up. And actually, this is kind of piggybacking off of what Tobari said just a moment ago as well, in terms of beyond, you know, the point where you're healed, when you come into union with your partner. I think I've mentioned this before, but I'm a really big fan of the book, The Spirit of Intimacy. And in it, the author talks about the Dagar peoples and how they ritualize sexuality and intimacy. And there's something, oh yeah, Jay got it. Yes, I love that book. Thank you.
Don't hype him up. He does this shit all the time. Every single Zoom call he's on. You can pull books out, Jay. Don't hype him up, Grace. Don't do that.
Well done, Jay. Meg is hating, but
A little bit.
but no, I absolutely, like, that book changed my entire mindset. So in my past relationships, I was all about the me and you against the world. You know, because I've been an introvert and I've been so independent my whole life. I don't come from a large family, a large friend background, or any of that. When I did have a partner, it was literally just me and him against the world, like best friends, nobody else. It was just us. Now I realize, as I have found my soul tribe in men and women, I'm seeing that I'm more community oriented, village oriented. And it's a very, very interesting but soul fulfilling experience. I say that to say the spirit of intimacy really changed my life in regards to bringing the village into intimacy. Even when it comes to marriage, in the book, they talk about marriage ceremonies not being just for the two people getting married, but it's also a chance for other couples in the village to renew their vows, things of that nature. When you have, you know, when you have issues with your partner, a lot of times it's like, our drama, you know, should stay in this household. The Dagar peoples, they look at as the village, just the same way that it takes a village to raise a child is the same way it takes a village to maintain a healthy marriage. And so it really, really changed my life. But I say all that to say, in the book, they talk about an ash circle, and it's a sacred ritual of sorts where you and your partner get into this ash circle, and you may light candles, or, you know, just make it sacred, set the tone, things of that nature. And you really vent to each other and let out all of the troubles and, you know, just whatever you guys have going on that you need to get off your heart. It's a moment of emotional vulnerability and intimacy. So you square all of that away. Now, whether that leads to sex or not, you know, it is up to you two, but oftentimes that is where the intimacy starts, because you are literally and figuratively naked in front of one another, just letting it all out. And I think that is the most beautiful, beautiful thing. And once you do that and you clear the way, you clear your body of all the blockages and the debris that is stopping you from being able to be fully present in the moment. Once you clear all of that out, you're able to be completely uninhibited in sexual intimacy with your partner. And that connection is just like explosive, as Kay said. So that's one tip that I would absolutely give, is make intimacy a regular, whether it's weekly or monthly, make it a regular sacred space that starts with communication and ends with communication, really. So does anyone else have any other tips? Go ahead, Mig.
Sure. No, I mean, my bad, T. I do want to say this, though. I think specifically for men, I think it's important for us to, all right, so a lot of you guys that know me know that I move very much intentionally, and I kind of pride myself in being a critical thinker. And if you have ever watched any type of porn, or not even like porn, but like even in the movies, when you look at the sex dynamics, aka let's say James Bond, for example, and shit, right? You know, it's very much a male-dominated society, even when it comes to sex, right? And we do shit like shame women for the same shit that men do. For example, having FMF, right? Threesome. It's a threesome, right? Or but having what is it? MFM. It's somebody running a train or whatever the fuck it is, right? I'm like, yo, how the fuck you figure that shorty doesn't want 2 dicks, but I want 2 pussies? Like, you're not, either way. And that's that. One is not for everybody, but why do we shame women for doing the same shit men do, right? Mm-hmm. When men do it, you're a pimp. When women do it, you're a hoe. Yeah. Bullshit. So I think a lot of us apply that shit to our own sex lives. Even when we don't go that far into threesomes and all that, you know what I mean, beautiful extra shit. It's always like a male-dominated type shit. So I think if I had to give somebody, men a tip or people a tip, it's like, yo, deconstruct that shit. You know what I'm saying? And make sure that you're comfortable in anything that you do. But as a man, yo, do your best to please your partner, right? And yo, and mind you, I'm 100% heterosexual, but that means whatever mentality yo, Sherelle, what you making that face like what I said was like a shocking to you? What the fuck?
I was about to say something. I'm waiting for you to finish.
Oh, you made that face like, really? I didn't know. Like, hold on, what the fuck is going on? Look at them titties behind me. All right. Anyway. But I think it's important for us to kind of start deconstructing that shit, and as men, and focus on pleasing your women, which I have found, right? And this is the second part of what I want to say is that a lot of times, right, society has conditioned not only men to be the receivers of pleasure in sex, but women to feel that they have to be the givers of that shit too, right? So that's enough. I don't want to be too blunt here, but shorty be like, yo, I need to make you come and you pussy. I'm like, yo, nigga, nah, it's about you right now. Tonight it's about you, goddamn it. Ain't no motherfucking Miguel. Don't worry about Miguel. Miguel's good. I want to hear that shit. That's my shit. You know what I mean? Shit like that, right? And women get offended by that shit. Like, women don't know how to receive that shit sometimes because society has conditioned women to be pleasers and men to be receivers of that pleasure.
Oh, you know, bitch. And I meant to actually bring this up before. Urban Tantra.
You're welcome. First of all, hold on. Let me do it, Jay. Hold on.
Oh, you got that too?
Got that too, nigga. I put you on to this book.
How you gonna?
It's a white ass, but it's still an ass.
Urban Tantra. So I am a tantric practitioner. I consider myself a whole master at giving tantra. But that book gave me like such a huge aha moment. As much as I've mastered giving a tantric experience, I lack the ability to receive a tantric experience. Yeah. And that was just like, whoa, for me. Even in my past relationships, I did not receive the same type of tantric level intimacy that I was giving, and that never even dawned on me. But even further than that, it's not that I didn't receive it because like I couldn't receive it or no one was willing to give it to me. I literally don't know how to receive it. The same way like you don't, like you can be a giver of money, you could be, you could donate money and all the things, but you don't know how to accept a gift of money or anything for that matter. The same thing sexually. She made me realize that I just don't know how to receive. It's to the point where I get nervous when it comes to receiving pleasure. And it's like, if I'm not working, if I'm not doing something to pleasure you, I feel lost in the moment. So that was like the biggest aha moment that I've gotten so far from that book. I'm like about halfway done. But yeah, that's just like, wow to me. And because when you think of Tantra is a mutual act. It's supposed to be a mutual meditative act. Even though oftentimes, or as I prefer it, one person is on the receiving end and the other person is on the giving end, and then you alternate, it's supposed to be evenly split in regards to Tantra. And for me, it hasn't been. So I'm now on a whole new journey of learning how to receive. Like I had to do shadow work as to why I couldn't receive. I had to do inner work. Okay, what is it about me? Is it an insecurity that I feel like I have to constantly prove myself sexually And, is it a dominatrix thing? Because when you talk about BDSM being a healing sexual modality as well, it's like, do I just love to be in control? Is it a control issue? So I've had to go within myself and figure these things out. And that's a whole new journey that I've embarked on. But thank you for that book, because that definitely gave me a lot of insight in regards to
you know what though? I don't want
Well,
Go ahead, Kay.
I'm trying to talk so bad.
Go ahead, Kay. This is your show, baby. Come on.
No, Sharell, go, please.
Oh, Sharell, go ahead, Sharell.
Sorry, y'all. So we have some comments off of what Meg had said. Max said you're approaching it with the mindset of being fulfilled, but also fulfilling your partner.
Hey, tell Mike to shut the fuck up.
And Paige said that Meg gave great advice for the guys. But since I got the floor, I'm gonna go ahead and jump in. What's that?
Ready for my Snickers bar?
Oh, wow.
Okay, but I do want to piggyback kind of off of what Meg was saying about like kind of letting go of the stigmas attached to sex when it comes to building intimacy. And as y'all know, it's kind of my habit here. I'm coming from the viewpoint of I am still a devout Christian, and sex has been made to be so freaking dirty.
Yes.
And and the thing that always boggles my mind is God invented sex. So how is it dirty?
For everyone and everything.
Right. And so I know for me, I had to step out of that. Like, I really just had to go against the grain for what was instilled in me, because I was raised in the family like holding hands makes you pregnant. That's the family I had. Holding hands makes you pregnant. Kissing makes you pregnant. Wow. So my biggest fear, what took me so long to even start, was because I was like, oh my God, the first time I have sex, I'm gonna end up with a disease or I'm gonna get pregnant. Like, that's really what I thought. But as I have learned to open up more, has crossed over to some of my friends, and it's not about being nasty or being a freak. It's really about, it goes back to self-love on a level, because that is the Maslow hierarchy of needs. It's like, we have to have our sexuality. We have to procreate. Even if we want to go to the Bible, like, there's a whole book in the Bible about sex. The Song of Solomon is nasty. It gets like,
word.
Yeah.
Word. Which book is it?
Solomon? Read your Bible and pray every day.
Talking about in the Bible and everything. Yes.
Yeah.
Hey, Sharell, can I ask you a question? Sharell? So, well, as somebody that's in the religious world, because I'm not by choice anymore. I come up Catholic, so it's been taboo in my fucking family since forever. But at what point do you start to deconstruct that religious mindset? And now I'm talking about the children. And you know what I mean? Like, when it comes to the kids, at what point do you start to like destigmatize and normalize sex when it comes to you know what I mean? Like the youngins.
In my experience, it has still yet to be normalized.
No, I'm talking about, but talking about your world. Like, for you, like, how do you, what's your opinion on that? What do you think?
Oh, okay, yeah, I get it. Okay, so I work with high school students, actually, so this is great. Really, I think that, I'm not a parent, so please don't come for me, y'all. I think that probably somewhere in middle school, because the kids are learning about it. They're hearing about it in elementary school. My mom used to have a daycare, and this was 20 years ago, my senior year of high school. And one of the kids was in the 3rd grade, and she came to the daycare, and she was talking to me, and she's like, we almost had a fight today between 2 girls because one boy broke up with the other girl because she refused to touch his penis. So he started dating the other girl.
In the what grade? My daughter's in the 3rd grade, about to be in the 3rd grade. No, not that one.
Hey, she's done.
So they hear about it at school, but I really think that to get them to start embracing it personally, like the way I've taught it as a teacher and athletic trainer, is when they start hitting that puberty and they start coming into their own, to start letting them know it's okay, because so many kids are scared. Like, they're afraid to masturbate. And if they do, they don't tell anybody. Or I got kids, I don't know how many times I've had a football player come up to me in my career, I think I got this girl pregnant. Or I don't know if I have a disease. Or I'm sleeping with this girl, and this girl. When's the last time you got tested? Oh, I know I ain't got nothing. So it goes down to, you gotta, I think education and then acceptance is really within yourself, is like the foundation of building intimacy with other people. Because if you're sitting up, I'm sorry.
I'll wait till you finish. I apologize. Go ahead.
Okay, you can go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was just I connected with what you said, very much so, because like I said, I'm raising my daughter. She's 8, and my wife and I, one of the things that we do with her just super early on is just not lie or give our body parts like funny or different names. We just call it what it is, because we want to make sure that she understands that her body is not, it's not a cupcake. It's not a fishy. It's not a this. It's a vagina. It's what it is. This is what it does. And her mom explains to her, her dad explains to her, and we're comfortable with it. Our conversations about it are generally pretty light, and we don't necessarily need to go into detail about certain things, but I connect with what you said a lot, because here I have a young daughter coming up, and as a man, I'm like, I really don't know what I would teach my daughter. I think about it, but then here's the scenario, and I'm like, are we about to talk about this? I guess we're about to talk about this. And for the most part, it ends up pretty good. So yeah, I really connect with what you're saying.
I'll tell you.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Okay. Go ahead, Grace.
No, I was just going to say, what you said resonates with me as well. Now, I don't have children, but as far as I'm concerned, I was introduced to sexuality as young as 6 years old. But believe it or not, I was introduced to sexuality through other men sexualizing me as a little girl. So Coach T, in reference to your daughter and having those talks, if you're not having any type of talks with her, you need to have talks with her in regards to other people sexualizing her and what to do in that case. Now, thankfully, I have never been molested or anything like that, partially because my mother instilled in me at a very young age to, watch out for those kind of things. But me being intuitive and aware as I was, even as young as 6 years old, I saw the looks that I got from men. I saw them trying to lure me into, their presence. And I saw when I would dance with my other friends that were my age, I saw them looking me up and down, looking at my developing body. I saw all of that. And even though I had a certain level of wisdom not to take the bait, if you will, it still kind of shaped how I looked at sex as I got older. Like I said earlier in this conversation, before I became celibate, I was very fast. I was a very fast teenager with older men because of those same situations when I was that young. So yeah, if you're going to have any conversations with your daughter, make sure it's a conversation about what to look out for when an adult is looking at them in a sexual way.
Fantastic advice.
Fantastic advice. A few more comments real quick, so I don't miss them. Tiara says she got to stop holding hands.
Yes.
Mac told her don't stop. Paige likes the Christian viewpoint, and then Mac said he remembers being a kid and telling a crush that all he want to do is zoom, zoom, zoom in her poom poom.
Hey, that's my shit too.
That sounds like that, and that's.
Yo, can I say this much too, though? Yo, I think it's important to remember also. I got 2 grown daughters. And I'm gonna say stepdaughter because she's not my biological daughter, and then my biological daughter, right? 25 and 24. And I think it's important to understand also that I know I came up in a world where it was like fucking normal for older guys, the 18 to 24-year-olds, to swim by the fucking high school and shit and pick up the juniors and seniors, even sophomores. It was like the norm and shit, the dope boys or whatever the fuck, you know what I mean? All the niggas with the cars and shit. that shit was normal. To the point where like I have a hard time nowadays bumping Big Old Butt by LL Cool J. Cause that nigga said, I went to the high school around 3 o'clock. Like, that shit is uncomfortable for me. Yo, bro, you were like 22 when you made that song, whatever. Right? But that was like normal for in my I'm 43 years old. In my world, that shit was like the norm. Right? So we gotta understand that a lot of these motherfuckers come up in a world where that shit is like normal. You know what I'm saying? To objectify and prey on little girls and children. All right?
In the same breath, as young men, we are taught that it's cool to like holler at cougars and older women.
That is fucked up too. Again, yeah. Go ahead, Jay. Pick it up, Jay. Jay's more eloquent than I am. I curse a lot and shit. Jay speaks better than me. Go ahead, Bearded One.
Now, I'm saying, like, it goes both ways, right? Because for both male and female, it's a stroke of the ego. Like, I have someone that's older than me that I'm able to be sexually intimate with, right? So it's bragging rights. It's a bunch of different things, right? And it's still older people preying on younger minds and younger bodies. So I think that once we communicate and educate our youth on what sex is, like how we started off talking about how it's a spiritual, experience. We're talking about all of the psychological, emotional, and mental things that are involved in this sexual act. Like, we need to understand that this is not something you do for bragging rights or as a trophy or reward or to get your clout up, right? Because it's so much deeper than that, and it affects you for the rest of your life, regardless of how you look at it, whether you thought it was cool or not. Like, as you become more aware of your actions, that can generate shame and guilt and a lot of negative thoughts about yourself and your self-worth. And I think that the best thing we can do is help younger minds understand that it's deeper than just the physical act. And I think that goes back to the initial question. If you're having an issue as a couple, I think you have to dig deeper into your relationship to figure out why. It's not always the physical that's off, or it's not just chemistry. You got to think about, one of my favorite quotes says, the way you do anything is the way you do everything, right? So if you're selfish in the relationship, you're most likely selfish in the bedroom, right? So that's like a automatic red flag right there. If you guys don't have the ability to joke and play and be creative, like, then that's most likely not translating into the bedroom as well. So we have to understand that it's a lot deeper than sex. Usually sex is everything but sex, like the psychology and the dynamics that come with it. Really, the sex is a byproduct of what's happening outside of the bedroom.
Wow.
In the spiritual realm and like emotionally, physically, like whatever, like at the end of the day, you gotta really evaluate and assess yourself. Also, my key point, honestly, was going to be, think about how open you are to being vulnerable with your spouse. Like, if you're not open to being vulnerable and talking about deep things, then the sex is probably going to have a cap to it, right? The more vulnerable you're able to be, the more intimate you can be, the better the sex is going to be on both sides.
Can I add to that? Can I add?
But,
so beautiful, beautiful points. So many. I was like, ooh.
My fan, Kay.
I wanted to say that I wanted to explain the process, because I've dived deep into, like, the biological, the physiological components of, like, why we do the things we do within our DNA and, like, just consciously and within the universe. So we have to get to a point where we do get so vulnerable with our partner that we allow ourselves to reach that state of orgasm, because orgasm is at the same level as the cosmic places they say you can reach through meditation. It's also the same place you go when you're sleeping. It's the same place you go when you die. You know, it's going to be when you are completely not your body and completely not your mind. You're just consciousness. And that's the only time when you are pure consciousness. That's why orgasms are amazing. That's why sleeping is so amazing. That's why when we do find out, people are confused that death isn't amazing, but death is so amazing. Meditation is so amazing because you get to go back home to yourself, which is equivalent to God, yourself that is able to create within this universe. So when you can be that person, then the only way you can is if you surrender. And the only way you can surrender is if you are deeply trusting and you're vulnerable. And it all stems from your relationship with sex, because we like to think we know sex, but if you're still connected to this body as if it's you and you're living your life full of desires, you know, that means that you're lacking something that you feel you don't have within. So while you're just like, ooh, I want to have that male, female threesome, it's like, well, why though? You know, what in you is making you want to do that? You know, get to the core root as to why
you're a little gay, male, female.
So I'm saying, I'm commenting off of like your situation.
Sorry.
You were talking about it. You know what I mean? Like when you were talking about something like that, you want to ask your woman why she's even thinking about doing something like that. Like instead of just being so gung-ho and joining her into her egoic desires. You know what I mean? Like getting to a place where you are just coming from pure feminine, divine greatness. You know what I mean? But that's a whole nother long story.
Hey, yo, something about Kate talking that sound like hitting her fucking face like that is fucking me up. Like that shit is like magical and shit, yeah.
Sound like we listening to love.
Yeah,
sex.
you know what I mean? Like, that sound like hitting your face like that, yo. That's love, baby. Like we see you. You're glowing right now. That's
it's
real
lighting
shit.
in here. The sun is coming down, and you know.
Yo, can I just say this much, yo? I think it's all about deconstructing the shit we came up with and like just feeling. You know what I'm saying?
Like taking anything as who you are completely. Like if you're so unique, if you say you so unique, then why are you being 100% all these things that people are labeling you as? Like take bits and pieces of each one that works for you. Like I am 97% feminine, you know what I mean? I'm 62% aggressive. You know, don't take 100% of nothing. I'm not 100% vegan. I'm not 100% nothing. Like just deconstruct it all. Like go back down to the basis of all your beliefs, all of your desires, all of your hopes and dreams, and figure out why they're there. And then when you figure out why they're there, figure out what you're seeking. And when you figure out what you're seeking, figure out what you feel like you're lacking, and then connect it all and figure out how to move through it to evolve yourself into a person who can be vulnerable.
Yes, I love that. And I want to piggyback on what you said in regards to operating in pure consciousness and surrendering to the moment. A part of surrendering to the moment is being able to die in that moment as well. And particularly when it comes to the divine masculine, or not even to the divine masculine, but men in general, as a tantric practitioner, yes, I'm bringing it back to this again because this is perfect for this conversation. I can't tell you how many men have been on my table that have cried tears of relief and joy because they were willing to surrender to the moment, that they didn't have that level of comfort with anyone else, you know, whether it was a girlfriend, a wife, or what have you. Never in their lives have they experienced that type of liberation, that type of freedom. And that's the place that we need to get to. But it's not completely the man's fault that they're not vulnerable, because you need a safe space to be able to be vulnerable in. And a lot of men don't have that as well. I highly encourage everyone, men and women, to research what tantric sexuality is. because it was literally life-changing for me. Again, I may not be where I need to be as far as receiving, but as far as giving, that type of sacred space, and that in and of itself helps me to receive more from men in general. Because just as Jay said, when you're, the absolute vulnerable that you can be, when you're completely transparent, that makes everything else better. Sex is just a byproduct of that. So tantric sexuality teaches you that. Tantric sexuality is a moment where you and your partner, now here's the thing, I don't know if I've said this before on a previous podcast or not, but I've never been a fan of like 60-90, right? I never really understood why people love 60-90, because it's like, it's too much work for me. I don't know if it's because like I'm a slow processor, slow thinker or what. Miguel, shut up, because I know you're about to say something quick. I'm a slow processor. I've never enjoyed 69 because like I don't like the idea of having to receive and give simultaneously. I want to be able to lay back. Go ahead, Miguel.
It's a battle.
I don't like it. I don't like it.
It's for funsies. It's for funsies. Like
it's not funny for me.
Like you trying to get me, but I'm gonna get you first type shit. Like, have fun.
I don't like it.
Have fun with it, Grace.
Nope, I do not. Get that out of my face.
Oh, sorry. My bad.
I do not like it. And I, to your point, I do get what you're saying, Mig, but it's never been fun for me because, again, I get overwhelmed so easily when it comes to having to concentrate. Like, it already takes me a lot to sit there in the moment and receive the pleasure that I need to receive in order to get me to an orgasmic space. So when you have to give and receive simultaneously, it's like, no, I'd rather be the absolute giver in that moment. And then we can alternate, or, you just be the receiver. Whatever the case is, that's what I like. I say that.
Question before you move on. So what's going on in your mind when you're receiving versus what's going on in your mind when you're giving? I mean, when you're like,
when I'm giving,
Kay's a fucking goddess.
When I'm giving, my mind is completely centered around satisfying my partner. So I can't even focus on my own satisfaction. Whereas where I'm receiving, I have to not think about anything. I have to let go and surrender to the moment.
So when you're getting both, does your mind then go into overload and it can't just...
Yes, I get overwhelmed easily because it's too much processing, too much external stimulation, if you will.
My wife says the same thing.
Processing during that time.
Say that again.
What are you processing during that time?
I'm trying.
Kay's a fucking therapist.
I know, I shouldn't even be going into it all deep like this. It's all personal. I'm just like super curious though.
No, I love it. What was your last question? You said, what am I processing?
Yeah.
Everything. And that's the thing. Now, I should have prefaced this by saying I do have general anxiety disorder. So even in regular life on a day-to-day, and I'm an introvert, and I'm an empath. So all of that goes into me trying to grasp everything I can in that moment. So even on a regular day, taking sex completely out of it, I get overwhelmed very easily because I get stimulated very easily. I have to like kind of retreat and recharge in my own solitude. You know what I mean? So in that moment of sex, I'm trying to process everything happening. I'm trying to like, okay, I need to focus on giving this pleasure. Oh, but I need to focus on them receiving pleasure. Like it's just too much going on for me, for someone who's a slow processor like myself.
Okay.
Can I say this though about that? I think it's a perfect example of how, like when you started talking and then I say, yo, you just play, like, right? It's like a little play on sex or whatever, right? I think it's a reminder that sexual interactions are very much individual. Like, you know what I mean? Like for that couple or for that group or for that FMF. You see what I'm saying? Like it's very much so for the people involved in that moment. You know what I'm saying? There's no cookie cutter shit. Like we can sit here and talk all day, but at the end of the day, like all we have to fucking know about sex is that you gotta make sure that your fucking peoples are pleased and that you're pleased. And however you guys gotta get there, you get there. Like you said, Grace. Like for you, like that give and take shit. Nah, nigga, I'm gonna make you fucking go to fucking bliss, and then you make me come to bliss, motherfucker. Like that's what works for you, and like your partner has to be able to meet you there, or you meet him halfway. Y'all figure this shit out. at the end of the day, it's all about communication.
You know, even more, I think we forget to enjoy the process and then get the reward of that bliss as a bonus. You know what I mean? But really be in the moment of enjoying the smells, the sounds, the taste,
and that's
everything.
the point, because I'm unable to enjoy anything because the stimulants are too much for me to process. I'm receiving too much outer information, you know, in one moment. Does that make sense? So for me,
it makes perfect sense.
It's too difficult. I literally cannot enjoy anything. I can't even sit there and say, okay, I'm giving, but I'm going to focus more so on the receiving aspect, even though I'm still giving. I can't do any of that. It's not a joyful experience for me at all.
Mac has a question for you, Grace.
Stop calling him Mac. Mac is gonna have questions all night. You better block that motherfucker.
Go ahead.
Does it have anything to do with self-esteem or self-worth thing? Do you view your giving your partner pleasure as a part of what makes you a valuable partner?
Absolutely. That's an excellent question. And that, going back to what I was saying about my shadow work, doing my shadow work from reading Urban Tantra and my issues with receiving, that absolutely plays a part. It's like, who am I when I'm not at work? Who am I when I'm not overperforming? You know, am I anybody? Now, of course, logically and even intuitively, I know, of course, I am who I am, whether I'm doing everything or nothing at all. But practically speaking, that's when the self-consciousness comes in. That's where the lack of self-worth comes in. And it's like, okay, like I literally, if I'm just sitting back receiving and not doing anything, it's just like, okay, what do I do? You know, I feel awkward. It's a very awkward moment.
Fucking come. That's what the fuck you do.
No. Can I tell you what you do?
Go ahead.
I mean, okay, so.
Bite your pillow. Oh, sorry, okay.
Yeah.
Who said bite your pillow?
Nigga, relax.
No,
Enjoy yourself.
The lack of being able to be in the present moment. I'm not able
to tell you how.
That's who you are outside of the bedroom too, though, Grace.
Exactly. That's my point. I have general anxiety disorder, so that, and I'm an empath, so all of that plays a factor in. What was that quote you said earlier, Jay? About
bitches get money?
Shut up, baby. What'd you say, Jay?
The way you do anything is the way you do everything.
The way you do anal or anything? What you say? Anal?
Both.
Anything.
Oh, anything. My bad, project.
Not how you do anal, Mig. The way
I've done anal. I've done anal. Giving, not receiving.
No judgment.
Hey, chill out. Giving, not receiving.
Go ahead, Kay. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So what I was gonna say, hold on, let me gather it again, because I'll be going off to my head. Okay, so I think one of the biggest journeys there is in life is overcoming the mind, because it does get very loud, very annoying, very chaotic up there. And there are mindfulness practices that you can do that allows you to stay present, not just during sex, but in your everyday life and in other activities that you can do to help do that. But during sex, my favorite thing to do in my head to really get me in the present is to narrate my environment or narrate what's happening in my mind. So I will visualize in my mind's eye what it looks like when his tongue is like doing what it's doing. So I'm watching him do that in my mind while I'm also feeling the sensations physically on my body. So then I've even gotten to the point where I'm sending him instructions just in my head, where I'm like, you know,
telepathically.
Yeah. And then like maybe 3-4 minutes later, he does it without me having to say anything, but just being so in a flow of what's happening in my mind's eye, which is still being present completely with my body and what he's doing to my body. And really focusing on every detail, you know, that's one easy thing to do. And then after that, you get lost in the fractal patterns in the space, back in the womb. You know, you get lost into that again.
Wow. And see, that's one thing I love about you is even in your, you know, practical personal life, you're so in tune with yourself, in tune with spirit. So I can only imagine how that is sexually for you. And yeah, no, I understand 1000% what you're saying. And it's interesting. You said, so you narrated in your mind as far as what he's doing to you.
Mm-hmm.
And then that creates some type of like telepathic bond where you're guiding him telepathically, if you will.
Yeah, because he's clearing his mind at the same time. Now, his process of doing it may be different than my process of doing it, but clearing both of our minds is bringing us to that one space, that oneness, that space of consciousness that is oneness. So when you get in there, you're there. You know, he could be in Tokyo masturbating and I could be over here, and we can reach together and get to that space in consciousness and be together again and come together, you know, but you have to be able to get to that place of really not letting your body or your mind interfere with that.
Yeah, and then like you said, that is the biggest feat of mankind, is to master the mind in that way. And admittedly, that is my work in my own life. And it's like I've made such progress on that, practically speaking. And actually, I've made progress sexually in regards to that as well, just again, in the giving sense. Because even for me, the act of giving, whether it be tantra, regular sex, whatever the case is meditative for me. I meditate actively during those times. So in this regard, I would be how you're saying your man is freeing his mind, and you're guiding him telepathically. For me, I'm the giver in that situation. So that's literally, I'm not doing it just to please my partner. It's still very much pleasing for me as well. You know what I mean? So that's absolutely beautiful. But I do want to, you brought up something in my mind. What do you guys think about sex magic? Because I also say sex magic is something that is very beneficial.
We're gonna buy that shit at. I wanna buy some.
You tap into it.
Oh yeah. I got that part, but I wanna buy some extra. We're gonna get the power pack. I need a power pack. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I need like.
You need a booster?
Yeah. You sell that shit, Kate. I know you sell that shit, Kate. Let me get some.
I'm working on it, actually.
Some of that elixir, nigga. I need that shit, yo.
Can you speak really quickly on SheOrgasms and how it affects men who take it?
Oh, that's so funny. So it's.
You use laugh at your own shit?
I always do. Listen, I be at home by myself.
Oh no, okay. Yeah, okay, say that's so funny.
I'm actually really funny. Like, what? I'm actually really funny. No. But the herbs that are used in SheOrgasms are actually for men. However, I've formulated them in a way where it enhances a woman's experience as well. So men use it also, especially the tincture, because it's such a quick elixir. Like, you just take it under the tongue and then it just diffuses through your whole system, you know. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's just as fun.
Wow. So does it benefit a man in the typical ways as far as making him go longer, making him stay erect longer? Like, what are the benefits for a man?
So they've never been my focus with SheOrgasms, so I've never done the research to like gather that information for you.
Okay.
I'm gonna tell you how to advertise the shit right now. Advertise the shit as a 10-hour erection, no matter what it does. Advertise a 10-hour erection, and then go to every single BP gas station and put that shit in the fucking counter. And it's a wrap.
SheOrgasms is a brand of quality. You don't want to sell that in no freaking gas station.
When we make the male version, it'll be the gas station.
Hold on a second.
Hold on.
I think that's where he's going with it.
Hey, whatever Grace is saying, forget that shit. Do what I told you, and in 6 months, holler at me, give me 20%, and we're fucking moving to our own fucking.
Hey, no. Just holler at MBK Tribe, and we're gonna turn this into like, what's that brand?
Listen, nigga.
Make a brand. Women.
Hey, no, wait. We're gonna go public. We're gonna go public in the fucking.
We're gonna be the Mary Kay of SheOrgasms. And we're going to be hand to hand, door to
I
door.
don't know what Gray's talking about, but I'm telling you right now.
MLM structure?
Promote that shit as a 10-hour fucking erection, and we're done. We're not working no more. 2022, we all retiring this bitch.
Let me take notes.
I'm telling you, I don't care what it does. It's all a fucking mental game. You promote that shit as a fucking 10-hour erection, and we're good. We're done with this shit, nigga. It's D block. It's D block, Jay. Jay is D block.
Mig turned into Michael Blackston real quick.
I need money, nigga. I get paid out here. Okay, I'm telling you. He orgasms. Nah, he erects, nigga. That's what we doing.
I've heard it all. Trust me, I've heard it all.
No, but so yeah, back to my question. So what do you guys think of sex magic in particularly? Because I do feel like as far as, what is that face for, Miguel?
Well, because I feel like that can go a bunch of different ways.
Go away.
With me?
Yeah.
Oh, no, but I mean, from the beginning, I said, like, I believe, like, when you say sex magic, I connect magic to spirituality, right? So I already connect the two, you know what I mean? But I also know that for some people, that word magic is like a bad word and shit. It means like witches and shit like that, like, which they connect with like negativity or against God or paganism, whatever the fuck it is. And I know that shit can, for a fact, I know like 2 or 3 people. I don't know how many. Maybe Sharell knows. I already fucking, the moment they heard sex magic, they turn the shit off. They'll log off the live. You know what I'm saying? Like based on.
Well, that's something that I want to address. I don't want to steer away from it.
No. And I'm not saying we should. But what I'm saying is like, my face was based on like how I know that those words get received by some people.
Yeah.
Nah, fuck that, yo. We don't shy away from shit around here. Gang, nigga, MBK all day, nigga. Got his movement all day, nigga. Gang. But
what I would love though is if we could get like a universal framework, a universal definition of what we mean by sex magic, so we can start from there and then have a
interdependence. You see it?
You see it. Is that what that is? I was wondering what that was about.
Yeah, I'll explain later.
Yeah, so sex magic. First of all, I want to say, no matter how somebody looks at, and I use the term witches because I know it's the most extreme term and I'm not bothered by the most extreme term. A lot of people would consider me a witch. I have a lot of friends who are witches, and being a witch is spiritual. It's absolutely spiritual. You will find root work and priestesshood in the Bible even. So yeah, that's not something that I want to shy away from at all. But at its core, root work is intention work. And that's how the spiritual aspect connects the two. Intention work is a part of manifestation, right? It's putting your desires, your soul-based desires out into the universe, putting your intentions out there with feeling, with very strong feeling, and waiting for it to flow back into your life. That is what that is the essence, I'll say. It's not limited to that, but that is the essence of Kay said bathroom break. Maybe I wasn't supposed to say that out loud.
Yeah, you weren't.
Yeah, that is the essence of root work. It's putting intention out there, whether it be intention while honoring your ancestors, intention while honoring God, intention while honoring thyself, whatever the case is, it's intention. Now, as far as a universal framework for sex magic, that simply is all what, sex magic is. It's putting the intention out there. So when you are participating in sex magic with your partner, it's a meditative experience with you two being on one accord, being aligned and asking or putting the intention out there for the same thing. Whether it's to feel a certain way, whether it's to increase the bond, whether it's for something materialistic or what have you. It's really as simple as that. Aligning yourselves through intimacy and putting the desire and the intent out there for it to be manifested back into your life. Does that explain?
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead, Sharell.
No, yeah, please.
Oh, I was just gonna try to answer the question from my perspective. So I was introduced to even the term sex magic about 4 years ago. And
I wonder by who?
No, you don't. You know who. Wow, inside jokes and shit. Wow, okay, I see how it is.
But
Like,
the way it was explained to me made me interested in it. And I got to experience it without having to have intercourse. And I will say that, wow, like it was really probably one of the best sensual experiences I ever had. However, I will say that in the same breath, where I was introduced to it, it was explained to me in a way that I didn't want to accept it either. Because it was more so, so I'm a person that, not even just because of my religious beliefs, but like, you're not going to get it just because you want it. Like, I'm not giving it up just because you want it.
Hey, go ahead, Queen. Talk your shit.
And, you know, I had a conversation and I was like, you know, I'm making this person wait because I don't have the greatest feelings about this person, but I wanted to see how it was going to play out. And the advice I was given was, don't hold back, it don't mean nothing if you do anyway. And so I gave in, and that wasn't the right thing to do. But it actually pushed me off of sex magic until recently when we started talking about the upcoming podcast, because I was really, truly interested in it. But that little, sometimes it's that little thing that pushes you away, because it was very, very intimate. I will say that it was very, very intimate, like the experience I had, the one experience. But when people kind of put their own spin on things is when things kind of get distorted.
Yes.
Right.
A lot of false prophets out there.
Right.
Absolutely.
Right.
I can go with what I kind of think of what sex magic means to me. It's sort of in the same line of manifesting, you know, law of attraction and some spell work, but energized by the cosmos, you know what I mean? So when you're participating in sex magic, you reach a place which is sort of like the vortex or in alignment with source. So everything that is going to be spoken or thought of is going to be created in your reality sooner. Because it's right. So when you're able to get in that space through sex, then that's the time you want to create. You want to think about, visualize the life that you want to have, visualize the person you want to be. I like to speak really beautiful affirmations into my partner to make sure that he has peaceful, prosperous, loving interactions every day. Like, I speak affirmations into myself, and I take that time to really, like, I even be like, next month I'm gonna make, you know what I mean? A certain amount of money, or, you know, I use that time to manifest whatever it is that I need.
And you laugh when you said that, but that's some real shit though. Like some real shit. Like I'm telling you, as a man, as somebody that goes out there every day and tries to provide for their family and shit like that, I think it's important. And I think me and Grace have talked about this shit one-on-one about how the divine feminine and divine masculine. Yo, you laughing, and I know you don't. You know what I mean? It's not a joke to you, but I wanna reinforce the importance of that shit.
Yeah.
For divine masculine to, not even divine, just for men to hear that shit, to being verbalized and receiving that. You know what I'm saying? That's so fucking important. And I think it's one of those things that we take for granted. And sometimes as men, we hear that shit, you say it, but we don't receive it. We hear it, but we don't receive it. You know what I mean?
Enough though? I hear a lot of men saying they don't receive those affirmations and words of encouragement.
But again, that's one of those things that we gotta deconstruct.
Yeah.
Yeah, agreed. Because as men, we get fed a lot of things that are just as mythological as I believe women are fed about men. And part of the things that really trips us up is we try to work through the stereotype and not through the person. We try to work through the mythos and not through the person. We try to work through the framework, but not through the person. And I think what we're talking about now is connecting interpersonally, like on a real level, and not just, hey, this stereotype matched that stereotype, so we had a good time. Because you're gonna find a lot more success with one of those scenarios than the other.
Yeah. Real shit, T. Real shit.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
Just I wanted to touch on sex magic real quick.
Okay.
I think that I do believe in sex magic, and I practice it. I probably don't call it sex magic.
What do you call it, Jay?
I don't call it anything.
Hey, hanky panky.
I don't call it anything, but I believe in the transmutation of energy, especially sexual energy, that creative energy. I'm very intentional every time I have sex about the energy I want to, the energy I want to transfer over to my partner, what it is that I want to manifest from the experience, but also in the further future. Just having those thoughts, even in masturbation, thinking about my partner and those affirmations and manifesting all of those positive things, I think is very important, because it is your connection, I believe, to God or the cosmos, the universe, whatever you want to call it. That God energy it's aligned and partnered with you when you are intentionally trying to be aligned with it. And that's when you have the ability to create whatever it is that you're focused on at that moment.
Babies.
What?
Don't mind me carrying on. I'm gonna mute myself right now.
No, that absolutely. Were you finished, Jay? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you talk about the transmutation of energy, that's really important as well. I think everyone should have the responsibility or should accept the responsibility of the type of energy they transfer in sex. So there's numerous ways, obviously, to transfer energy to another person, but sex is one of the most potent ways to do so. So if you're not in a space mentally, emotionally, or what have you, and you should be able to take up that responsibility and say, okay, not right now. Let me heal myself. Let me do my shadow work. Let me get my energy together before I go into this experience with another person, because that can fuck them up as well. And yeah, so I definitely agree with everything that you just said. Now I want to give a little bit more of a basic tip in terms of increasing or improving your sex life, right? So we talked a lot about intimacy, but there's a website that I'm not sure too many people know about that I've used with a couple of partners in the past. It's called Mojo. The new website now is Mojo Update, and it's so awesome. I just want to tell you guys about it because in terms of like sex experimentation and things of that nature, it helps. It's a great aid in that, you know how sometimes like if I'm talking to my partner and I'm saying, hey, I want to try this, and he's saying, I want to try this, and then he says, and I want to try anal, and then it's like, oh, I don't want to try that, and then he gets kind of embarrassed and kind of, shameful about his request. Well, mojoupgrade.com actually helps that. So it gives each partner a list of questions in terms of like experimentation, what you want to do with your partner. Each partner, look at Sharell's face. Your facial expressions be killing me. It gives each,
I'm not looking at
it gives each partner a list. So you're just checking off or going through that list. And then at the end, it tells you only the activities that you guys have in common to avoid the whole humiliation, the shameful, like, oh, you want to do that? Now I'm looking at you differently. So I want to, if somebody's looking to spice up their sex life, are you reading it, Sharell? It's dope though, isn't it? It's mojoupgrade.com. Ask so many questions about pegging, anal, cup holding, threesomes, like everything. And like I
pegging.
Said, you said what?
You said pegging.
Pegging, no shame. What's wrong with
No shame. You're right. My bad. I apologize. My bad, peggers. I apologize. No shame. Not for me.
Shame. But
Hey
yeah,
guys,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I just need to jump in here. I have to jump on another call. I'm sorry I have to step away, but the conversation was amazing. I've been blessed to be a part of it. I'm definitely going on Mojo Upgrade because I think that sounds super dope. Let's just try something new. Hell, let's just try it. Let's see what happens. But I appreciate the conversation. It meant a lot to me.
Thank you so much, Coach T, for joining us. We definitely enjoyed you. And we do want to talk to you because we are definitely interested in interviewing both you and your wife about some things that I'm hearing in these streets.
Hey, let's go.
No, so we're super excited. We absolutely would love to have you both on the call if you will join us. So we'll definitely talk about that at a later time.
Absolutely. My wife and I are building a new brand called Two Average People, where we're just talking about, you know, Black folk in love and married and been married for a long time and how we're making it work for ourselves and the different research that we've been doing, books that we've been reading, and we're putting it into a show and we're putting it into products. And so hopefully we can jump into all of that good stuff. Beautiful. I really appreciate your time, guys. It's been so much fun.
No problem. Thank you. We enjoyed you and we'll talk to you soon, okay?
For sure. Thanks.
Now, guys, I have one more question. Right. Yeah, kind of a question. So another sex tip that I want to give is actually pretty obvious, and it's bring adventure into the bedroom. So with that being said, I want to know from whoever's willing to answer this question, Sharell, what is your craziest sexual experience? Craziest and most enjoyable sexual experience?
Missionary.
No, but like think adventure though. Like I know you guys have had some crazy adventures. I'll go first, if you will. So, and I still have this guy on my friends list. I hope he's not watching. I'm not going to say who he is.
Speed dial. Say speed dial. Don't say friend, but speed dial. Say speed dial.
Oh my God.
Anyway. So my craziest sexual experience, and this really revved up our sexual life. I was in Haiti for Carnival. I'm not going to say the date. I was in Haiti for Carnival with this person. And this person has a certain position within the city. So he set up everything to where I was completely taken care of and protected and all of that. We had security detail with us at the Carnival. And I always get this wrong. The Ministry of Interior building was brand new, had just been built in Haiti. So he was in the middle of working and he would come back and forth and he would leave me at the Ministry of Interior building to watch the carnival below. So once night fell, you know, Sweet Mickey was performing. I don't know if you guys know who Sweet Mickey is, he's ex-president of Haiti. And there were like 100,000 people down below. There were fireworks above. And he took me to the very rooftop of the Minister of Interior building. And we had sex on the rooftop with security detail below, actually like watching out, making sure no one comes up. And it's like, he had me bent over the ledge. And when I tell you this was the most scary but exhilarating experience of my life, because it's like you have 100,000 people below and it's like, all they had to do was look up and they would see, you know, they would see us having sex. Yeah, so it was pretty scary, but it was something that definitely like revitalized our sex life between he and I. And it was beautiful, it was magical, it was all of that. So now I want to hear what you guys' sexual adventures are. What's your favorite one?
Okay. I used to work, so, you know, I've grown up around and lived on military bases my whole life because my dad's a Marine. And I was working for the Army, and I won't say who this person was, but because there's too many people on my friends list that know if I give context clues. But there's a person I knew, and we had started messing around or whatever. And one day, I think I was getting ready to go to work, and he was around for some reason. So we're on base, and they had like a little path in the woods you could walk, but it wasn't necessarily hidden. And we saw like this little bridge, and we had sex on the bridge. And this was at like noon. So it wasn't even dark outside. It was like wide open. Anybody walking by could have saw us. The MPs could have saw us and could have gotten in trouble. And to be honest and kind of a little bit graphic, I have never seen him release so much in my entire life. Like, it was insane. And for me, I'd never been so slippery.
Nice word, slippery.
And it was insane. Like, I actually had to change my clothes before I went to work.
Wow.
And like, since then, like, this person has been within my life and we've had other adventures, but that was like the start of it. And then after that, it was like, okay, the dog park in the rain, or outside the hospital parking lot.
Back up, sis. The dog park in the rain?
Explain. That means explain. Expound on that.
Nah, she don't got to. I just want to double check real quick. Dog park in the rain? Okay, carry on, sis.
Well, it wasn't raining when we got there, but it started raining and wasn't going to stop because of the rain.
But it was still a dog park, though. I don't like that shit. Go ahead, carry on, sis.
It was at the dog park. There's no dogs there. It was it's probably about 11 o'clock at night. We're still on base too, so.
Okay.
It was on a car, if that makes it better.
But to my point though, it's like that when you get to spice, so it's like, especially when you've been with someone for a long time and sex gets so mundane, you know, you're doing the same things, same positions all the time. It's like when you're able to spice it up like that and experiment and have different types of adventures, doesn't that make the bond even closer? It's like you're keeping the youth in you alive, like that fun, you know, high school teenager that used to sneak out of your mom's house. You know, it's just like you're keeping that alive. That's why I love it. Anybody else have anything else to share? Oh, y'all want to get shy on me? Okay.
Nobody being fucking shy. Come on, Grace. Nobody being shy here. Just.
We know you're not shy. Everybody's shy but you. Okay.
Nobody, nah. Everybody here talking. We're talking. It's just been a good ass conversation though. Like.
Absolutely. So, Sharell, I know you had a something that you wanted, an activity of some sort, correct?
Yes. So I have been researching some articles about intimacy. And I don't know how many people follow Madame Noir, but they have a section called Dear Ashley. So I found like 3 little articles I just want us to discuss. I thought they were really good. So I'll just start with the first one. Okay, so here's the first one I found. And the title is, I love my husband, but he's not assertive in the bedroom. And to kind of sum it up, this woman has been with her husband for 11 years. He's the only man she's ever been intimate with. And one of her things was she said she regrets that she never had a hoe phase because her husband, he does everything he's supposed to do, but he just doesn't take control in the bedroom. And it makes her not want to have sex with her husband. So, have any of y'all ever had any? Okay, Mig. Okay, cut him off. Got it.
What would be your advice?
Have y'all? Huh?
What would be, or this is to you and to anybody on the call, what would be your advice for her? Should she stay? Because, I mean, like, you know, a lot of people do have that type of experience with like, the man is a great man, he's a provider, but he's not, you know, providing in the bedroom. Like, would you stay? Would you stick it out? Would you, you know, cheat? I hate to say. I mean, what advice would you give to this young woman?
I mean, the obvious one is communication. You know what I mean? Like, if she hasn't mentioned that she's tried to speak about it or bring it up to see why he isn't, or if he could be, because maybe he doesn't know. And as simple as being like, I really like it when you ... could be the start of a great sex life.
Right. Did it mention that she does know Sharell? I mean, that she has had that conversation?
She said he's tried and it wasn't good enough for her. So she said he did try to be more assertive. at that point, I had some words for her myself, but
so it's not she's over it. Like she's over it because she knows, like since she said she hasn't had her hoe phase, where that's really gathering your research, collecting data in order to be the person that you want to fully blossom into, and she gonna have to go through what she has to go through in order to continue her evolution.
Yeah, I definitely agree with Kay. Anybody else have anything to say on that?
Go ahead, Jay.
I mean, I personally don't think that she should leave. I mean, obviously it's her personal choice in her life. Definitely communicate what you want. If it's not good enough, continue to communicate, continue to keep trying until you get what you want. Sometimes it's not what the person is doing. Like I said, sometimes sex is everything but the sex. He could do everything right and she won't be pleased if she doesn't want to get it from him. If she wants to go on the whole phase, nothing he does is going to be right for her. So she's going to eventually get what she wants from somebody else.
Facts.
And that's just, it's as simple as that. Like we make things complicated.
You can make that work though. I'm sorry. Right, okay.
Well, I'm saying like she has to go on that journey to figure out why she's even needing him to be so aggressive and be so assertive, because he, like he said, he can do anything and she still won't like it, because she has to figure out what it is that she actually is looking for and get to know herself, because she probably hasn't, because she threw herself completely into a relationship young and still needed time to evolve into the person she's supposed to be, but she had a stunted period because she dedicated herself to pleasing and trying to make someone else happy instead of figuring out what makes her happy.
Absolutely. Jay, you were going to say something?
Yeah. And I think in cases like that, like, I think that as a man, I would let my wife go on a whole phase and come back to me.
Interesting.
I feel like
she would have to leave you though. You wouldn't be with her while she's in her whole phase.
I mean,
wouldn't open up the relationship.
It depends. It depends. Like, because honestly, because you're talking about two people who have a lot of unlearning to do, right? About sex and relationships. Some people don't like to go on a whole phase while they're committed to someone else, right?
Right.
Like that can create guilt and all types of other things, as well as a man, he might not be cool with that. But he might be cool with separating and coming back and saying, okay, like now let's like reunite and see if we can make things work or whatever. It might not work at all, but I'm just saying, like, for me, marriage to me is a lifetime commitment, and I'm willing to do whatever it takes to try to make it work. It might not work, but I'm not going to allow my pride and my ego to stop it from working. Like, go ahead, do your thing, because if she had gone on a whole phase before they got married, she still would have had the same amount of numbers or bodies, you know what I'm saying, as she would if.
Here's that shit though. I'm sorry, Jay, I mean to cut you off, but like that, I get so fucking angry when we start counting bodies and all that shit. Like, yo, sex is sex.
Right.
Right? And if we want to start counting bodies, nigga, let's start with the fucking men and how many bodies we fucking had. You know what I'm saying? Like, we don't do that shit. It's bragging rights, right? On our end. You know what I mean? So that's a whole fucking double standard. So let's throw this shit out the fucking window. And I'm not saying you're doing this shit, bro. But let's start talking facts here. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, when you find somebody, at the end of the day, at the end of the fucking day, yo, it doesn't fucking matter what she's been through, what you've been through. All that matters is that you two make it fucking work. Right? Marriage is not the same for, there's no cookie cutter shit for that bullshit. We fucking fall into that fucking bullshit ass lie or whatever the fuck society feeds us. But at the end of the day, it's all about you and them. Right, whoever it is. And I say them, meaning like if it's like two niggas, two chicks, man, woman, woman, whatever the fuck it is, it's about you two figuring out, or you three, or you four, you fucking five, whoever, however many motherfuckers you want to have in your tribe. It's about you figuring it out for yourselves. Period. Period. And that's what I loved about, we had an episode a few months ago about on polyamory. And I love that shit because we had a polyamorous couple there talking about their experiences. And hey, yo, stop me if I'm wrong, Jay, but at one point I stopped everybody and said, yo, listen to what the fuck they saying, because every fucking thing they saying apply to monogamous relationships. Every fucking single thing. Why? Because it's fucking all about two people or 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 or fucking 10, whatever, making this shit work for them. Period. My bad. I've been reading the fucking sex imperative shit. Like, they got me all the way back in Africa, niggas. I'm all fucked up right now. But it's real shit, though. Just make it work for yourself, yo. If you and your partner want to try new shit, if your motherfuckers, yo, I know I joked about like, yo, anal's only, yo, I give it, I don't receive it type shit. But yo, if homie want to get anal and you and your partner are cool with that shit, that's between y'all too. Period. Nigga, put this shit in the nigga's ass if that makes him feel happy and you're happy with him being happy. Whatever it is, figure it out and make it work. But we have a sense of pride and we have a sense of fake responsibility to society that won't allow us to be honest with each other, yo.
Yeah, that's what it all comes down to. But before we can be honest with each other, we have to be honest with ourselves. And
100%. You gotta walk into a space fucking full of yourself, you know what I mean? Like wholesome and shit, and being able to, and yo, and I've said shit before, but that's why I appreciate Jay so much, because when I talk to Jay, whether it's one-on-one, that's my partner, like my business partner, not like my partner and shit. But when me and Jay have conversations, it's more so about like, yo, I'm gonna tell you how I feel, you tell me how I feel, and then that shit triggers like this like back and forth of like bouncing ideas until we meet somewhere. And that shit is fucking beautiful, yo. Like, and if you can appreciate that on an elemental level, it should tell you something about how you interact in friendships, in marriage, in relationships, in father, parent, child relationships, all that shit. It all translates the same. You just gotta think about it all.
And at the end of the day, it's a very beautiful journey to be on if you know how to take, you know, the I don't even want to call it negativity, but if you know how to take that pressure that you're speaking of, you know.
But and that's the beauty of it. Me and Jay talk about this shit too, pause. But it's about understanding that everybody's not in the same part of the journey you're on. But what you can understand is, are they on the journey or are they at the fucking starting line? And even if you're there, 1 or 2 conversations can be had about, yo, you want to get on this journey or not? Because some motherfuckers ain't ready for that shit. Yeah. And that's where the difficult part comes in, where like you want to pull them into this journey because you know it's better for them.
Right.
But sometimes they're not going to get on that shit. You got to let that shit go.
Absolutely. And that beautifully said. I think we can end on that. So thank you, everyone, so much for your contributions to tonight's show. I thoroughly enjoyed you all. Kay, you have been amazing as usual, of course. We want to thank you so much. Can you let the folks know where to buy your products and where to check out more, or where to follow you, essentially?
So Instagram, we are at SheOrgasms. That's one word, SheOrgasms. And for Spiritual Sundays, I will be posting most of that stuff on Who is K Jones. And then my next project that I'm working on that's really attacking all of the archetypes that we have to go through within our shadow work, and mentally getting people to a level of silence, peace, and serenity. So it's going to be such an amazing app, going through a course, just getting rid of your ego and embodying all of your Christ consciousness type attributes and traits, you know. So it's really, really powerful. It's really, really life. It's transformational. So that is going to be at Entirely She. She standing for Source High Energy, because we are all source high, as in blissful ecstasy, not in like proximity. So yeah, you can find me in all of those places. The website is www.SheOrgasms.com. We have so many products that just enhance a woman's confidence, her sexual experiences, and it's lots of knowledge in our blogs as well. So I have a blog post section called She Chronicles, where I post about some really transforming information. So yeah, thanks for having me.
SheOrgasms coming soon, right?
We're gonna call it He Explodes. He Explodes.
We shall see.
He murgalizes.
No, don't entertain them.
Hey yo, boom boom, nigga, boom boom for him. That's how you gonna call it. I like that.
Nah. Everybody follow Kay. Really quickly, Miguel and Jay, can you mention the MBK brunch that's coming up next month?
Go ahead, Jay.
So we have the MBK brunch on August 22nd at Kitsuin in DC from 12 to 5 p.m. It's free admission. The food is not free, okay? Food and drinks are not free, but it's free admission. We're going to get together. We're going to have a good time. Just build, connect, you know, uplift each other and create, you know, deeper bonds. It's for men and women, so it's not just for men. Everyone come out, support, and let's have a good time and continue to, you know, push our community forward.
Yes.
So, and it's kind of important to know, though. I'm sorry, Grace, but it's kind of important to know that after 3 p.m. at the brunch, me and Jay are gonna be in the backyard with no shirts on and baby oil on, taking pictures with all the ladies. What? We're not do.
Not gonna happen, bro.
Got that? All right. So I'll be in the back with baby oil and shit.
Meg is going to be in the back with baby oil, giving massages. That's all you need.
No, taking pictures. Taking pictures. No, I ain't working that day.
And then really quickly also, 8:30 tonight, which is just about half hour away, we have the MBK co-ed call. We're talking about codependency tonight. You guys want to say something? Because I'm acting like it's my call. It is. I consider it mine, but you can go.
Go ahead, yo. Do your thing, baby.
Codependency is the topic of the evening. Men and women welcome. It is the My Brother's Keepers support group. One day a month, they allow women to come in and we just build together, commune together, and bridge that gap between divine femininity and divine masculinity. So 8:30 tonight, the flyer is on all of our pages with the Zoom info. So it's a private conversation. Feel free to come through and just be transparent, share your vulnerability, and build with like-minded souls. So we want to thank everyone for tuning in this evening. The Goddess Movement Community.
Touch on the the manifestation page that we got going on too. Like,
oh, my bad. You're right. Thank you. Yes. So the Goddess Movement Heal and Thrive Manifestation Support Group is going to be starting on August. I'm sorry. Is it August? Mm-hmm. August 23rd. And it's basically a play off of My Brother's Keeper weekly Zoom calls. Miguel was the inspiration for that, so thank you, Miguel. And we're just going to be, utilizing different tools, resources, and we're going to be encouraging one another and giving each other accountability, in terms of reaching our goals and manifesting our deepest desires. So that's all we have for today. Again, thegoddessmovementcommunity.com. Thank you all so much, and we'll see you next time.
This song right here, you know what I'm saying? As you guys. Thank you, Kay, for coming through tonight. It's been a wonderful evening of love, sex, and masturbation.
You're done. Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Bye. Thank you so much.